Hey guys, or 1 through 4 here, and I've got a deck profile for you guys. This week at my locals, I ran Dark World since Dark World came out this week, and I always run the deck that comes out that week. We did 5 rounds of Swiss and top 8 for some reason. After 5 rounds of Swiss, we did have a definitive winner, but I'm honestly glad we did top 8 because the guy who was definitive winner is a complete douchebag. He was playing Samurai, and honestly, a majority of people there were pretty sure he was stacking the shit out of them because every single game he opened up with at least one United and one other Six Samurai continuous spell, plus went into at least one Shien every turn 1. And when I played against him in the last round, he didn't know what I was playing, and then he wrecked me. I wrecked him game 1, and then game 2 he opened up with double United Kageki Kagemusha Grandmaster, and I opened up with nothing, and then pretty much the same thing happened game 3. And he was shuffling in a retarded way, he was shuffling so that his deck was facing him like this, and he was doing the same thing with his opponent, and he wouldn't stop. So, once my teammate wrecked him in finals, he told him that he had to shuffle with not looking at the deck, and, well, he lost. So, I'm just gonna make sure that he doesn't do that shit anymore, because it was pissing me off. He is a pretentious douchebag, and that was the only game that I didn't enjoy the entire day. I was undefeated up until I played him, but I don't mind that I lost. I mind that I lost like that. And then top 8, I played the mirror match in Dark World, and I messed up big time. I wasn't paying attention to text on cards because I hadn't slept, and that's probably one of my biggest issues is I don't sleep before the tournament because I work overnights, and I goofed really bad. Game 1, I had the game 1, and I misread the wording on Mind Crush. I thought it said destroy and not discard, and I knew he had 2 brows in his hand, so I called brow, and I looked at the card of Mind Crush, and I'm like, fuck, it discards, and then I lost, because +4ing means you win. But anyways, enough of my bitching about the tournament. I'm just glad that my teammate Drew topped, and honestly, nobody pulled anything, so I didn't really miss out on much. So, anyways, here's the deck profile. Of course, you got yourself 3 Graphas. He's great. He's huge. He's nearly impossible to kill once again. Once he's in your graveyard, you're set. When he's discarded, you pop a card. He's really good. And he's so easy to bring back. Next, I'm running 3 Snows, of course. Snow, once she's discarded, you have to add any Dark World card. She's really good because she lets you add any piece of the puzzle that you need. You add the field spell, you add Grapha, you add another Dark World so that you can play Grapha. She's a great card. Next, you got 3 Brow. Of course, he's your draw engine. Plus he's 3, which is great for another reason that I'll explain later. Then I'm running 2 Beige. Specials when he's discarded. Really convenient. Next, I'm running 1 Scar, Scout of the Dark World. He's honestly one of my favorite tech cards that I'm using, because he's like your 4th Snow. When he's killed by a battle, add any Dark World monster to your hand, so you just plop him face down when you need to, and your opponent will just probably run over him because they're not sure what he is, and oh look at that, you get whatever you need. Or, when you have Graphas in the graveyard, just plop him down, he gets under bottomless, skip him back up, and you got yourself a Grapha. Next is another one of my tech choices, 1 Brawn Mad King of Dark World. I really like him. He jumpstarts your engine when you are in a little bit of trouble. 1800 attack points, so he's not exactly the smallest monster in the world. Whenever he does battle damage, you can choose one card in your hand and discard it. So, like, he'll let you drop other Dark Worlds. So, I like one of him. Next, I'm also running one Silva. Just because it gives me another discard outlet. And he's also really big, so that he powers up when the field spell's on the field, so he's an Eradicator target. I really like him. I just have one. Next, two Fabled Ravens. Really like the Raven, because he gives you a good discard outlet because of his effect. And he's your tuner, so you can make a lot of good synchros with him. Also, excuse me. Him plus Beige equals Dark Highlander, and Dark Highlander shuts down Plant Synchro really bad. Next, you got yourself one Sangan to add whatever you need pretty much to your hand. You can add so many cards with Sangan. And then the money choice, you got yourself 3 tour guides of the underworld. Well, unfortunately, only one of these is mine. I'm borrowing 2 from my teammate. But I'm just not willing to drop the money on tour guides. And he picked him up really easily because I pulled one of them at the sneak, and he pulled one in an entry pack, and then he bought one at Nats for $60. If I had been thinking at Nats, I would have picked up a playset for myself, but whatever. Tour guide is so busted in this deck, because like the normal tour guide play, you tour guide into Sangan, and that's a really, really good balanced first turn play. Like, and by balanced is, it's balanced offensively and defensively, not fair balanced, because it's just good. But the really important target in this deck is your Brow. Because you tour guide into Brow, and then you scoop your Brow back up with Grapha, and then you win. That is what I primarily use tour guide for in this deck. I exceeded when I needed to, but most of the time it was like drop tour guide, grab Brow, scoop Brow back up, go for Grapha, punch. Tour guide is busted in this deck. Great card. That's my monster lineup. Next we'll go into my magic lineup. You got Reborn, it's a staple. Darkle, staple. Grenade, staple. Oh, I'll grab it later. Book, staple. I'm running double MST. Allure for draw. Then, of course, I got 3 of the field spell. The Gates of Dark World. Great card. Gives all of every card in your deck plus 300, so they're stronger. And it's a really good discard engine. But you need this card to be on the field. But luckily, Dark Worlds, if you play them right, aren't as reliant on the field spell as Dragunities are. But it's just convenient to have. Next, I'm running 2 Dark World Lightnings. Because Dark World Lightning lets you have multiple MSTs, and you can hit face down monsters and stuff. But you gotta be careful with Lightning, because if they chain their face down to your Lightning, you don't get the discard. And then I'm running probably the most important magic card in this deck, 3 Drag Down into the Graves. This card takes Dealings and completely shits on it, because Dealings is horrible. Because if you're mirror matching, you're dead, and if you're playing against if you're playing against someone else, even when you're Dealings, they're not going to discard what they need. Drag Down into the Grave lets both players reveal their hand, and you choose a card from your opponent's hand to discard, and then both players draw one. So you set it up so that all the cards in your hand are Dark Worlds, but like setting all your cards, and then they're like, oh, do you want to discard Grapha, Stow, or whatever? And when you just pick magic cards out of their hand, like Reborn and Dark Hole, it's a great card. Okay. That's my magic lineup. And now for my trap lineup, which this trap lineup is a little weird, but it's what won me most of my games I love this lineup. First, double deck devastation virus. It hurts many, many decks. Like, there are very few decks that aren't affected horribly by deck dev. Like, even to a certain extent, Dark Worlds are affected by deck dev, just not to the same extent. Then, 2 Eradicator Epidemic viruses. Eradicator, like, you may not think that you have a lot of targets for this, but Graphic comes back all the time, so you can run 2. Plus, when you get the field spell boost, Sylva's a target for this. And, like, Dark Highlander's a target for it. You find targets for Eradicator. It is rarely completely dead. Like, if you have it turn 1, then you might be like, oh, well, I can't play this right away, but who cares? You set it, if the worst case scenario, you use it to bait out an MS2 that's going to hit your field spell. But I usually got at least 1 Eradicator off per game. And then, because I'm constantly looking at my opponent's hand and see their draws, double Mind Crush. Mind Crush wins games because you clear their hand out almost completely. Like, I won a game against this Agent Angel because I Eradicator Epidemic him, took out his magic cards, and then I flip up a Mind Crush, call Hyperion, and he dumps 2 Hyperions out of his hand. And since you're using Drag Down into the Graves, you also look at their hand, so you almost always know what their hand is. So you just Mind Crush whatever you can't deal with. And then 1 Tramp Dust Shoot so that you can look at their hand again. Like, this trap lineup is all about controlling your opponent. Next onto my extra deck, using 1 number 17 Leviathan Dragon, since it's a rank 3, if I need to go for Tour Guide into Tour Guide rank 3, this is a strong monster. I wish this was Wind Up Zen Minez, but whatever. I'm running 2 Leviair, the Sea Dragons. I figured I'd be exceeding more. I really only ever went through 1 of them, but I had 2 just to be safe. Just since you're constantly removing things. Then 1 Adrius, Keeper of Armageddon. You really don't go for him at all. I didn't go for him a single time, but he's my favorite Xyz monster, and this is an actual deck that he's decent in. So I figured I'd put him in here just in case. I mean, you can go for rank 5. It's not exactly hard to go for him in this deck, but it just going for rank 5 often isn't the play that you need to be making. You got 1 Catastrophe because he's staple. Librarian, staple. 1 Fabled Ragan because Raven plus a lot of your 3s equals busted draws. 1 Brio, staple. 1 Orient Dragon.